My name is Ethan, and at 28 years old, I've finally landed my dream job as a junior editor at a prestigious publishing house in New York City. It's been a long journey to get here, full of obstacles and setbacks. But through it all, my love of books has been my guiding light. Growing up, I was a sickly child plagued by severe asthma. Endless nights were spent propped up on pillows, struggling to breathe between coughing fits. Sleep was a luxury I couldn't afford. But in those dark hours, my mom would stay by my side, reading to me from the vast collection of books my father had amassed. "I know it's tough, Ethan," she would say soothingly. "But let's see what adventures we can find in these pages until you're able to drift off." And so she would read to me, everything from colorful picture books to dense encyclopedias, planting the seeds of knowledge and imagination in my young mind. My father, an avid bibliophile himself, took great pride in my precocious literary insights. "Son, your analysis is remarkable for a boy your age," he would beam. "Maybe by middle school, you'll be ready to tackle the likes of Steinbeck and Faulkner." But life took a tragic turn when I was just 12 years old. My father lost his battle with cancer, leaving an unfillable void in our family. The once overflowing bookshelves slowly emptied as we sold off his collection to make ends meet. I threw myself into part-time jobs the moment I was old enough, determined to lighten the load on my mom's shoulders. Despite the financial strain, my love for the written word never waned. I would spend hours at the local library, losing myself in the stories and studies that had once filled my father's library. It was there, among the towering stacks, that I met Vincent, a well-dressed, kindly gentleman who always seemed to be there during my visits. Our shared affection for literature bonded us immediately, despite the gap in our ages. He had an uncanny knack for guessing which books I would enjoy, and we would spend hours dissecting plots and debating character motivations. In Vincent, I found not just a friend, but a mentor who reignited my passion for the magic of storytelling. However, as high school graduation approached, the harsh realities of life once again reared their head. Without the means for college, my dreams of working in publishing seemed increasingly out of reach. Countless applications and heartfelt pleas were met with rejection, each one feeling like a personal slight against my abilities and aspirations. Just as despair threatened to overwhelm me, a lifeline appeared in the form of Simon, the CEO of a small publishing firm. He saw potential where others had dismissed me, offering a trial position that could lead to a permanent role. It wasn't the big leagues, but it was a foot in the door. More importantly, the steady income allowed me to help support my mom, who bore the years of hardship in the new lines etched on her face. Things were looking up, until Simon made an announcement that would change everything. He introduced us to his daughter Olivia, a fresh graduate with an impeccable pedigree. The resemblance to her father was striking, from the sharp attire to the air of polished professionalism. "I have full faith in Olivia's abilities," Simon declared, his pride evident. "But I expect everyone to treat her as they would any other colleague. Her success will be earned, not given." Little did I know then the dark turn our seemingly bright future would take, and the trials that lay ahead for all of us in that little publishing house, with Olivia at the helm. Olivia quickly proved herself to be a formidable force in the office. Her keen intellect and tireless work ethic saw her rapidly rise through the ranks, leaving the rest of us in awe and, admittedly, a touch of envy. In what felt like no time at all, she had secured a managerial position, and with it, her father's unwavering trust. But as Simon's presence in the office dwindled, Olivia's true colors began to surface. The once friendly and encouraging demeanor gave way to a sharp tongue and unreasonable demands. "These deadlines are unacceptable," she would snap, her eyes flashing with impatience. "I expect better from all of you. And these estimates? Utterly insufficient. I'll handle it myself since you seem incapable." The atmosphere in the office grew thick with tension, the air heavy with unspoken grievances. I watched helplessly as my colleagues, the tight-knit team I had grown to love over the past 4 years, slowly trickled away, driven out by Olivia's relentless criticism and micromanagement. I threw myself into my work with a renewed fervor, determined to keep my head down and avoid drawing Olivia's ire. But my efforts seemed only to attract her attention. "Ethan, you're looking quite haggard these days," she commented one afternoon, her tone dripping with insincere concern. "Is the workload too much for you to handle?" I forced a smile, assuring her that all was well, even as the stress ate away at me. Pounds fell off my frame, and the once friendly banter with clients turned to worried inquiries about my well-being. Just as I thought things couldn't get any worse, Olivia called me into her office. My heart raced as I anticipated a fresh round of criticism, but nothing could have prepared me for what came next. "Ethan," she began, her voice uncharacteristically soft. "I've been observing you closely, and I must say, I'm quite taken with you. I think we could make a great pair, both in and out of the office." I stared at her, dumbfounded. The woman who had made my professional life a living nightmare was now professing her affection for me? It was surreal. I'm flattered, Olivia," I stammered, my mind racing to find the right words. "But I've never thought of you in that way. I value our working relationship, but I don't think it should extend beyond that." Her expression hardened, the warmth in her eyes extinguished like a snuffed candle. "I see. Well, I had hoped you would be more appreciative of the opportunity I'm offering. After all, someone with your background could benefit greatly from a connection like me." The insinuation stung, but I held my ground. "I'm sorry, but my feelings stand. I hope we can continue to work together professionally." I excused myself, the tension in the room suffocating. Little did I know, I had just signed my own professional death warrant. The following weeks were a nightmare. My desk would be inexplicably soaked, my carefully prepared reports mysteriously missing or shredded. And always, Olivia was there, her snide remarks and thinly veiled threats a constant reminder of my perceived slight. "Ethan, your work seems to be slipping," she would say, a malicious glint in her eye. "Perhaps some extra hours would help you get back on track. We wouldn't want you to feel like you're not earning your keep, now would we?" I gritted my teeth and bore it all, hoping that my suffering might spare my remaining colleagues from her wrath. But even that cold comfort was short-lived. One day, I received a frantic call from our biggest client, a prestigious magazine. "Where is the latest issue?" they demanded. "We were supposed to receive it days ago." I was baffled. I had no knowledge of this project, but my name was listed as the point of contact. With a sinking feeling, I realized this was Olivia's doing. Despite my profuse apologies, the damage was done. The client terminated their contract, and with it, a significant portion of our revenue. Olivia was waiting for me when I returned to the office, a triumphant smirk playing on her lips. "Oh, Ethan. What a mess you've made. I'm afraid there's no place for such incompetence in this company. You're fired." I stood there, numb with shock and disbelief. Years of hard work, of dedication and sacrifice, all wiped away by one woman's cruelty. With a heavy heart, I gathered my belongings and left, the weight of failure and injustice bearing down on my shoulders. In the days that followed, I couldn't bring myself to do much more than wallow in self-pity. My mother, bless her heart, did her best to comfort me, plying me with my favorite meals and gently encouraging me to look for new opportunities. But the betrayal cut deep, and the wounds were slow to heal. It was during this dark period that I received a call from an unknown number. I let it go to voicemail, assuming it was yet another job rejection. But the calls kept coming, day after day, until finally, my curiosity got the better of me. "Hello?" I answered tentatively. "Ethan, thank goodness you picked up." It was Olivia, her voice strained and desperate. "Please, you have to come back. The chairman of our biggest remaining client is threatening to pull out if you're not here. The company will go under." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After everything she had done, Olivia had the gall to come crawling back, begging for my help? I was tempted to hang up then and there, but something in her tone gave me pause. Beneath the urgency was a note of genuine fear, a vulnerability I had never heard from her before. Against my better judgment, I agreed to a meeting. If nothing else, I owed it to Simon and my former colleagues to hear them out. But as I stepped into that familiar office, I had no idea of the shocking revelations that awaited me, or the path that this twist of fate would set me on. As I entered the conference room, I was greeted by a sight I never could have anticipated. There, seated beside a distraught Simon and an uncharacteristically subdued Olivia, was none other than Vincent, my old friend from the library. But gone was the unassuming, kindly demeanor I remembered. In its place was an air of quiet authority, his posture straight and his gaze sharp. "Ethan, my boy," he said, rising to shake my hand. "It's been far too long." I returned the greeting, my confusion evident. "Vincent, what are you doing here?" He smiled, a touch of mischief in his eyes. "I suppose proper introductions are in order. Ethan, I am Vincent Blackwood, chairman of Blackwood Publishing." The revelation hit me like a thunderbolt. All those years ago, the man I had seen as a fellow book lover, a mentor and confidant, was in fact a titan of the industry. And now, it seemed, my fate was once again intertwined with his. Simon spoke up, his voice heavy with regret. "Ethan, as you've likely gathered, our company is in dire straits. Vincent has made it clear that your presence is the only thing that can salvage our partnership. I know we've wronged you, and I can only offer my deepest apologies. But please, we need you." I listened, torn between the still raw hurt of Olivia's actions and the undeniable pull of the work I loved. But there was one thing I needed to know first. "Why me?" I asked, turning to Vincent. "Why am I so important to all of this?" Vincent leaned back, steepling his fingers. "Because, Ethan, I've been watching your career with great interest. Your insights, your passion for literature, it's a rare gift. I knew from our first meeting that you were destined for great things in this industry." He went on to explain how he had tracked my progress, quietly advising his employees to keep an eye on the rising star he believed me to be. My abrupt departure from Simon's company had raised alarms, leading to his own investigation into the matter. I was stunned, humbled by the faith Vincent had placed in me. But there was still the matter of Olivia's behavior to address. I turned to her, my gaze steady. "Olivia, I appreciate the gravity of the situation. But I cannot ignore the way you treated me, and the rest of the staff. The bullying, the sabotage, it was unacceptable." To my surprise, Olivia didn't lash out or deflect. Instead, she seemed to crumple in on herself, tears welling in her eyes. "I know," she whispered. "I was awful. I wanted so badly to prove myself, to show that I earned my place. But all I did was make everyone miserable, including myself." Simon placed a comforting hand on his daughter's shoulder. "Olivia, success isn't just about results. It's about how you treat people, how you inspire and lead. I'm sorry I didn't guide you better in that regard." Watching this exchange, I felt a flicker of empathy for Olivia. She was young, thrust into a role she wasn't fully prepared for. It didn't excuse her actions, but it did make them more understandable. "Olivia," I said softly, "I appreciate your apology. And while I can't forget what happened, I do believe in second chances. If you're truly committed to changing, to being a better leader, then I'm willing to give this another shot." The gratitude in her eyes was unmistakable. "Thank you, Ethan. I promise, I won't let you down again." With the air cleared, Vincent made his final play. "Ethan, I'd like to offer you a position at Blackwood Publishing. As an editor, working directly with our top authors. It's the role you've always dreamed of, is it not?" I couldn't deny the thrill that raced through me at the prospect. To be part of a prestigious house like Blackwood, to shape the stories that would captivate readers worldwide. It was an opportunity beyond my wildest imaginings. "I'm honored, Vincent. Truly. But what about Simon's company?" Vincent smiled. "We'll be partnering more closely moving forward. With Olivia at the helm, and with your guidance, I have no doubt they'll flourish. And you'll be right there with them, a shining example of what hard work and true passion can achieve." In that moment, the pieces of my life seemed to fall into place. The hardships, the setbacks, the unexpected allies, all of it had led me here. to this singular opportunity to make my mark on the literary world. As I shook Vincent's hand, sealing the deal, I couldn't help but think back on the journey that brought me to this point. The little boy who found solace in his father's library, the determined young man who refused to let his dreams be deterred, and the mentor who saw the potential in me when no one else did. It was a story worthy of the books I loved so much. And as I stepped into my new role, I knew it was only the beginning of the tale yet to be written. What do you think about this story of mine? Please give me your comments below in the comments section. If you liked this story, please like and subscribe to the channel to follow the next stories. Thank you.